What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today in front of us I've got a 2021 Kawasaki Ninja ZX6R. This one is my track bike, so it's built out for mainly track riding, and what we're going to be doing today is resetting the cam chain tensioner. So if you've ever had a Kawasaki, you might have noticed it'll make a ticking or a rattling noise when it's idling or starting up. And typically what that is, it's going to be your cam chain tensioner. These things have an automatic cam chain tensioner. A lot of people just go ahead and replace it for a manual tensioner that they can just adjust themselves. But I'd like to see if I can't just fix the one that's in it right now. What it'll do, the cam chain tensioner has a bolt and it'll basically adjust automatically to change the tightness on your timing chain, which has direct impact on your motor timing. So if you've got one of these bikes and have noticed it ticking like that, we're going to be working on it. Your cam chain tensioner is going to be right here underneath your right side fairings. So obviously I've got a track body kit on here, so it looks a little bit different than a regular one. It's super easy to pull these ones off, but if not, you're going to have to refer to another video to figure out how to get down there. So I'm going to give this a little cold start real quick, just so you guys can hear what it sounds like. Okay, so if you noticed, might have been a little too loud to hear it, but there is a rattling noise coming down from right in here, and I'm pretty positive that it's my cam chain tensioner. It's been doing this the last couple times I've ridden it, and yeah, so let's jump into how to fix it. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to remove my body kit. As I mentioned, you guys will have a different one just because this is an aftermarket body kit. This is a Pascal Plast body kit. They use these things called Zeus fasteners, which make it super easy to take the bike down and pull it apart. All you have to do is just go along to all these little bolts here, and you just turn them, and it's basically got a little locking pin in it, and these will just pop right out. All right, so I'm not gonna fully remove this panel, but I loosened the top and bottom end of it just so I can hold it back out of the way. So right down in here, this is what we're gonna be working with. So we've got two bolts on top, and this bolt right here is for the actual rod that tensions the chain. So we've got a couple lines in here, and we've got this bracket. So I'm gonna see if I can't get in there without removing this bracket here, and see if we can just loosen these and then turn it out to the side. So what I'm doing before I start, I just took these two cables that were on this hook and just pulled them out of the way. All right, so the first step, we're gonna remove this center bolt right here. It's gonna be an 11 millimeter. It's a little tight to get to, so you might have to hit it with some extensions or a flexi socket. All right, so I was able to get it loose, and I'm just gonna work it out the rest of the way with my finger. All I did was use a 1/4 inch ratchet with an 11 millimeter socket on there. When you pull this out, you gotta be a little careful because it is spring loaded and you don't want your parts going everywhere. This is what it's gonna look like when you pull it out. There's gonna be a spring with this little rod inside of it. Next thing we're gonna do is remove these two 8 millimeter bolts. These are gonna be a little tougher to get to. That one is back in there pretty deep. All right, so that took me a couple minutes to get these loose, but what I was able to do, took an 8 millimeter wrench and was able to just sneak it up underneath that bracket there. All right, with both of those bolts removed, now it should come free. And what you might have to do is rotate it like this to squeeze it out. You just really need to remember what direction it went in. All right, so this is what your cam chain tensioner looks like. Mine went out in with this foot sticking up, so you just want to make sure that you're going to put it right back in the same way you pulled it out. So looking at this cam chain tensioner, it looks just fine, it feels just fine, so I'm not quite sure I was having issues with it. I'm not able to push it in, and when you release this latch, it slides back in just how it's supposed to. And when I pull it out, it clicks into place and I can't compress it back. So I'm not quite sure why it was doing that. But what I'm gonna end up doing is just resetting it all the way back down. So what you do, you pull this pin and then you just push that all the way back in. And that's at its lowest setting. And hopefully when I put it back in, it should automatically adjust again. So if you look right down in there, that is gonna be all of your timing stuff for the bike. That's just inside of where the cam chain tensioner goes. All right, so I've got the cam chain tensioner put back in right here. And now what we're gonna do, we're gonna take that spring-loaded pin and put that back in too. So we need to put this back in, and since we did reset the tensioner all the way back, this is gonna be a whole lot harder to put back in. You're gonna have to be compressing the spring while also trying to tighten this down, and it is a pretty tight spot. All right, so I've got all that put back together. And what we're gonna do now, we're gonna start up the bike and see if that rattling is gone. All right, so unfortunately that didn't solve the rattling issue. I've got one more trick I'm gonna try before I actually go and replace the entire cam chain tensioner. So, little trick, you can loosen this top bolt about halfway, and then once you've got that done, you're just going to loosen this very slightly until you hear a single click, and that'll just be the tensioner moving out one more notch, adding a little more tension to the chain. Just keep in mind, all this rattling noise is simply coming from your timing chain being too loose and rattling against the case. All right. So I ended up having to pull this out just to reach that top bolt again. Not a big concern. What I'm gonna do, I've got this loosened halfway. I'm gonna put the spring back in, and then I am just gonna loosen this until I hear a single click. All right, like I said, we're just gonna loosen this bottom bolt until we hear a single click. All right, so I've got the cam chain tensioner tightened back up. What you do, you're just gonna let it out one click at a time and then tighten it down until that rattling goes away. So I'm gonna go ahead and start the bike up here. I don't hear any rattling anymore, so I'm gonna say that we fixed this. I'm gonna put my fairing back together and wrap up this video. All right, that's gonna wrap it up for this video. I hope this trick helped you guys fix up your bikes too. If you guys are interested in what all I have done to this bike, I'm gonna be making a full video on it here pretty soon. So if you think that's something you'd like to see, go ahead and subscribe and keep an eye out for another video. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one.